We are 3 episodes in, and I have no idea why the word Wheel of Time is on the title card for this show. It is definitely starting to feel like Rafe Judkins just flipped through some book pages, closed his eyes, stuck his finger on a paragraph and said, yeah, let's take that. Now, I promise you, I am not saying that to be inflammatory. It's just very clear to someone who has read the book series, and in particular, The Eye of the World multiple times, that Amazon and Rafe Judkins were burdened by trying to maintain an illusion that this was going to be Robert Jordan's story at all, which certainly does explain why episode 1 and 2 feel like a hackneyed, infuriating, and unrecognizable adaptation of the characters that we knew from Emond's Field. So much so that they could only fake it for those 2 first episodes. Episode 3, the bait and switch happens. Yes, you heard me right. This show is nothing more than a bait and switch. Now, there is multiple evidence to support that. Nineveh becoming an action hero. Look at how Rand and Matrim are treated. In an incomprehensible narrative divergence that slams into this new character called Thom, which is absolutely unrecognizable from the books. Perrin and Egwene relegated to the back burner, wandering some pointless B-roll loaded with inane dialogue, all trying to reconcile the corner they had written him in by giving him a wife that he killed. Obviously, we're going to get into spoilers. If you do not want to hear episode 3 details, this is your last warning. Here we go.
If you don't take me to them right now, I'll slit your throat.
No, that is not bad dialogue from one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. That is Nineveh at the very start of episode 3, A Place of Safety. It picks up with a non-canon... Why do they call this show The Wheel of Time? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Legitimate question. Why did you call this show The Wheel of Time? You have a Trolloc dragging off a Nineveh by her braid? I mean, what's really sad about all of this is that's the only braid tug we've legitimately gotten, and we're 3 episodes in. Oh, grimdark. We got some hot Trolloc on Trolloc cannibalism going on here. I'm not overstating this. That disembowelment, if that isn't grimdark, I don't know what is. However, this does move Rafe Judkins' hackney plot along, and Nineveh is able to run through the woods and escape to that magical bullshit glowy rock water cave, which again doesn't exist in the books. We get a scene reminiscent of Arnold Schwarzenegger rising out of the same misty, murky water as in the movie Predator. And just with the same action hero type reflexes, Nineveh is able to take the dagger from the Trolloc. I can't even say this shit. And despite probably weighing 100 to maybe 105 pounds, soaking wet, is able to dispatch a 400-pound creature of unimaginable horror by stabbing it in the heart. You go, girl. You go, girl. Now, I don't know what they're doing in the universe's most diverse, isolated, small, insular village at the end of the world by raising their women, but boy, they sure make them perfect over there in Emond's Field. Why? Because the story, and more importantly, the narrative, needs her to. That is intersectional storytelling. Cut to Egwene and Perrin and a whole host of off-screen wolves howling in the windswept barrens. And we're back to Perrin building another bonfire. If you really are being chased by Trollocs, are you gonna build another bonfire? Seriously? And this is probably a dick thing to say, but you don't start a fire like that. Go to around 940 something and take a look at what they've got going on. They've got a little bit of tinder at the bottom and then a whole bunch of big sticks like on top. And then, why am I doing this? Just never mind. All right, I'm going to sound like a total dick, and I don't mean any disrespect to the actress, but I seriously thought that the actress playing Egwene had a nose ring. I was wrong. It's a mole. See, I can admit when I'm wrong. And again, we have arbitrarily inserted non-canon relationship CW stuff going on, with Perrin reassuring Egwene that Rand will go where she goes. Oh, Perrin, you big lovable wife-killing lug. The scene with Nineveh tied to a tree like she is a battle-hardened Marine is hysterical. Is it overkill? I don't think so. I'd like to see all of the characters that Rafe Judkins has created tied to a tree and gagged for the rest of the show. As the scene continues and Lan releases her to go find woodland medicinal cures for Moiraine, I am struck with a great deal of sadness as a fan of the books. Why? The cinematography in this show, in this scene with all of the beautiful pine trees, man, could you imagine if they had actually stuck with the tone and the characters of Robert Jordan's story instead of this? Would it have been so difficult to not try and make Game of Thrones light? Just like that, I am disabused of any maudlin notions. We get the grimdark, pus-exploding, festering Trollic wound of Moiraine. It deserved its own guest spot on this show. It should have had its name in the opening credits for the close-up that they went with on that. Oh my god, it just goes on and on. Pus and oozing black stuff, close-up after close-up. Why? God, why? Flash to it was a dark and stormy night with Perrin wandering around in his pajamas. Oh my god! What the hell am I watching? What am I watching? Why is there a wolf disemboweling Perrin's dead wife? Why? This arbitrary, grimdark bullshit that's being slammed over this. Why? Oh, but wait, we're not done. We have zombie Perrin's wife, who he didn't actually have in the books and didn't kill. And then we have the Dark One himself, who looks like a really bad mannequin someone is using in the Kiwanis haunted house. That's the big bad in Rafe Judkins' Wheel of Time? This is the third episode that everybody told me it just gets so much better with? What the hell show are you watching? When we return to Rand and Matrim in Mordor, or wherever the hell this is, we get sitcom humor. Think of the stories they'll read of you one day, Matt. When you were a little chilly. Good old degenerate Matrim shows back up, wanting to scavenge off of some poor rotting bastard in a cage. I don't know where we are. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what story's being told right now. You know what I'm reminded of in this scene? Is the absence of Thom. One thing that Thom did along the journey, because there was this character named Thom the Gleeman who was with the Emmons Field folk through the whole passage from Emmons Field, a very, very long way through the story. I'll just leave it there. The important part is while they were on this journey, Thom, a gleeman, a musician, a juggler, a performer, was teaching Rand and Matrim how to do his acts, including playing musical instruments, which is a way in the books that the actual characters of Rand and Matt were able to earn their keep, to get a small room in an inn, to get a bowl of gruel or whatever the hell they were serving. The decision to age these characters up keeps just fractaling and destroying what was a beautiful story created by Robert Jordan. Oh wait, after going through the desperate, dirty, small mining village at the bottom of a crevasse with a lake, there's Thom. Why does Thom look like he was an extra in the movie Tombstone? Are you telling me the only patches on a Glee man in Robert Jordan's... I don't know who this steampunk Thom is. Is this Thom? I guess it's Thom. The credits say it's Thom. Why should I have expected any different at this point? And of course, Thom is a thief. He's a dick. Why? Because again, when we're talking about entertainment that uses intersectionalism, men are either stupid or evil. And I know it's a minor point, but if you go to 27 minutes and 2 seconds, you will see a supposedly abandoned and forlorn windswept field where Perrin and Egwene see some type of settlement in the distance. Now the camera is pulling back, but if you look at the ground, you're going to see the wheel tracks of something just arbitrarily stop and then seem to have gone back the way that they came. This undoubtedly is a continuity error, and someone didn't scrub out or erase the dolly that probably did the shots, the B-roll, before all this. Back at the gritty mining village at the bottom of the crevasse, Matrim is putting his eyes on the barkeep, even though she seems a little bit young. Don't forget, Matt is a degenerate. And it should go without saying, of course, that none of this is in the books. Back to the barmaid, we get an exposition dump of how difficult her life is. Thank God the sad violins were there to tell us we were supposed to feel sad, otherwise I would have laughed out loud. What's also dropped in the non-canon, nonsensical crap between Perrin and this barmaid is the fact that there is a riverboat available for a large sum of money. Now is the time for us to turn our eyes back to Robert Jordan's original works. In the original story, Matt and Perrin were being pursued by Trollocs. They came across a riverboat on a bank while fleeing downhill and were able to jump into this riverboat while the crew helped fight off the Trollocs. Why did I tell you that? Because all of this nonsense in this morass mining village of incredible diversity doesn't exist. This is all from Rafe Judkins. Speaking of mediocre dialogue that is non-canon, where you jump back to Perrin and Egwene. You don't have to protect me, Perrin. It's not your fault. Rafe Judkins trying to lay down something resembling a character arc for Perrin because he's being overprotective. Honestly, the Egwene and Perrin scenes just feel like filler. Boom, out of the fog. Who do we run into? Not who I was expecting because I read the books. No, we run into the two Athathan. Now, I know my comment section is going to be full of people making fun of me because I don't say it the right way. Isn't it funny how many Wheel of Time pronunciation experts there are on the internet now? If only those people had the same zeal in defending Robert Jordan's story. While they may be wearing a wardrobe that would look like they have just left a Fish concert, no, these are the traveling people. In the books, the way they looked, everything is wrong. The description of what they wore were so many different bright colors that they hurt your eyes to look at. So that takes us back to Rand, who's been chopping wood for hours without rolling his sleeves up, without any hint of sweat. And that buxom young multicultural barmaid asks about Rand and Matrim being more than friends. How else would one say it? These themes, this narrative, whatever this agenda is, it has nothing to do with the Wheel of Time. If I wanted a man, I could do better. That's Rand talking. And then we're back to not Thom, who's apparently wearing spurs, and they're using some type of corny Western music while he walks toward Matrim with a knife, because Matrim apparently is going to loot a rotting corpse of something that looks expensive. The Aiel. That's how we're introduced to the Aiel. There it is, my episode 3 review. It wasn't very much fun. Just like this show, and again, I'm not doing this to be sensational. Episode 3 is very clearly the bait and switch. What we are getting is no longer even trying to pretend that it is from the book series. And again, this argument that, oh no, it was never supposed to be the book series, it's supposed to be the cycle after the book series, I think is absolute bullshit. Maybe that explains why there is such a sharp division between those who have read the books, or those who at least have an appreciation for the first book and what we're seeing on screen. Too many plot contrivances, too many liberties taken, too much external crap made up and shoved into the desiccated husk of what they pretended to say was the Wheel of Time. There is no other way to label this thing that Amazon spent all this money on. You are more than welcome to consume this content and then repeat the download from the media as to what you should feel about this content. But I, for one, know why this show is not any good. And not just because it is an absolutely unfaithful bait and switch of the Wheel of Time series for whatever this is. I honestly don't think I've got episode 4 in me. Not unless people really want me to do it. And after this particular video, I can understand why you'd want me to do something else. As ever, this is Salty Texas C. I am Corey DB. I appreciate your view and your comments, and I want you to have a great week.